Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Success is a Mindset series. This is episode 7 with Terry, where we're going to be talking about money-making investing tips, like things that you can do to make money and then make your money work for you, and maybe even some ways to get out of some of the mistakes and some of the things that you might have done, like accumulating credit card debt, and how you can climb out of that. I mean, at least I can give you some tips on that for sure. I'm still working on mine, but like Terry was telling me before we started, if you have any credit cards, it's obviously best, for you to be charging them up and then paying them off at the end of the month. I mean, they do have rewards like the cash back and stuff like that, which you could use to your advantage. Like if you wanted to use your credit card in that way, you can. You just need to be paying it off every single month. Or if you do have a balance, just don't carry. It's better not to have nothing, but if you do, carry one that's at least 25% or lower of whatever the balance is overall, so you can keep your credit good. That I do know is like 20 to 25% is that sweet spot for good credit. But anyways, Terry kind of talked about some of this investing stuff earlier when we were in Clubhouse, and gave some amazing tips, because when I tell you a lot of hands went up when they don't know anything about these apps or don't know, a lot of hands was going up. So I know that this is valuable and that you will be helping people in the community. Christy, how you doing, girl?
Yeah, she's awesome. Hey, I'm gonna call her sis. Hey, sis. Hey, Tasha. How are you?
Okay. Hey,
Tasha. So they're trying to hang neck and neck about this shopping, aren't they? Okay. Both of them, and they're shopping. Christy and Tasha.
Oh, they both shopping.
Yeah, because Tasha's doing all that shopping too, catching these stores that are closing. Mm-hmm. But anyway, hello everybody. So where do you want me to begin, Miss Beautiful Brittany?
I think that we'll start with Bitcoin, and then we'll talk about the apps next, and then I'll wrap up and try to tell them about some of this credit card debt and how they can, take care of some of that. So we'll start off with apps, because the apps, there's so many. Like, I didn't know it was that many apps out there that gave you money. You know what I mean?
So there is a lot, and so I'll compile a list. I'm glad you said that, and I'll probably get that out, send that out to Instagram. But we'll talk about Bitcoin. Excuse me, everyone. Basically, I was not into Bitcoin at first, and mainly it's because I was kind of like listening to Warren Buffett and his partners. I was like, I'm not gonna do Bitcoin. But what got me sold onto it is when my husband got this app called Gemini, which he got when we were in DC. And he got this app and he bought some Bitcoin and some other crypto. And then he started showing me all the places that was taking Bitcoin. Okay. And so there's actually some major places that are taking Bitcoin, like, for example, Microsoft, Whole Foods, to name a few. And there's more than that, actually. There's quite a few companies that are actually taking it. And so that kind of made my eyes open, because I said the more places, especially legitimate places, because, Whole Foods is, hey, Quimby, how are you? Whole Foods is a very, of course, that's a prestigious place, as well as, of course, Microsoft. And these places are taking Bitcoin. And like I said, there's a list of places that actually take it. You can actually do a Google search, and it'll show you all the places that are actually taking this form of currency. And that list is just going to increase and increase. So when I saw that, I said, well, I probably should go ahead and get in. But by that time, I think Bitcoin was around 10,000. So I had a friend that owed me some money, like I was telling y'all earlier in Clubhouse, and I had the Cash App. So when they sent me money over to pay off the loan, I would just go ahead and put some in Bitcoin. I didn't put a lot, though, but I put a little bit in there, because it's all about, because it is a risky investment. So if you're going to get into cryptocurrency, remember, it is risky. I wouldn't invest more than what you're willing to lose, if that makes any sense. So that's what I did. I put in the amount that I would say I could deal with losing. I'll put it to you like that. And then, of course, I would invest in some other stocks while I was on the Cash App. So that's kind of what I did. And then, like I told y'all the story about SoFi, which I started that app And they told me that they would give me $25 if I invested anything into the crypto currency market. So I invested $10 into Bitcoin. They gave me $25, and now that amount in SoFi is like $210. And keep in mind, I only invested $10 of my own money. So it's going to continue growing. And what I've noticed about the Bitcoin industry since I've actually been in it, it seems to have like a similar trend to me. And keep in mind, like I said, this does come with risk. So obviously do your own research. But what I have observed, because I got in it when it was 10,000, that when it goes to the next level, like for example, when it went to 20,000, everybody was like all excited. And they're like, oh, it's going to get to 30,000. Before it takes off to go to 30,000, it'll go back down. It'll go down about 5,000, even maybe sometimes 7,000. It'll sit there. Then it'll take off before it'll go over to 20,000 and head to the 30,000. It did the same thing with 30,000. Once it went over 30,000, it sat there for a moment, and then it went back down in the 20s before it decided to take off, surpass the 30s and go to 40,000. Same thing happened when it got to 50. So I do believe it's on trend to get ready to go to 60,000 just from what I've been observing of it. But in any case, I'm definitely going to stay in it because I haven't put a lot of money in it and my money is growing. And so I put a little bit in, like I said, what I'm willing to risk because it is a risky investment. I just want everybody to keep that in mind. But I do think it is going somewhere. There's only 18 million Bitcoin out there. There was supposed to be 21 million. 3 million of it somehow got lost. So there's only 18 million and all of it has not been mined. And of course, it's just going to keep going up in price. So that's my take on Bitcoin. Did you have any questions on that?
I mean, about it like going up and down, is there no time like the present to go ahead and get in if I'm because I'm not in yet. So do I need to be waiting for it? Is it like stocks where you wait for it to go up and down and that sort of thing? Or, is that good, bad? I don't think I'd be in that.
I think the Bitcoin bombshell said just get in it, period. Okay. But since I've been watching it, since, like I said, I got in it when it was 10,000, basically what I do is I catch it on the dips. So every time it dips, I get back in. But, that's how I do it. And that's how I do stocks in general. So I don't try to buy stocks when they're at the high. I try to get it when they have the dips. Okay. And, of course, for Bitcoin, they can have big dips. Like I said, 5, 6, 7,000. So then, I want to catch that dip before it starts going up to the next level, because I do believe before this month is out, it's definitely, it's probably going to get to 60,000 very soon before it goes to the next level. I'm pretty sure of that. So that's kind of what we're looking at. Yeah.
And you said right about now it's sitting where? Right now?
Right now, I don't have my phone on me, unfortunately, but I think the last time I checked, it was at 53,000. Okay. Yeah, I think it was around 53,000. So like I said, I don't have my phone on me. I'm sorry about that, because normally I could tell you right off. So I think it's 53,000 right now.
Well, yeah. So if you were to invest and then something happens and it's not going well, what exactly is the risk, or what kind? I know how much money, it depends on how much money you put in, but is it the same in the sense where whatever you put in, can you be in the negative? I think is what I need to, at the end of the day, could I end up owing money? You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. Now that's a great question. No. Yeah. No. Because for one thing, you're not doing a margin order. So no, you're not going to be in this scenario, you would not. There is certain types of investing, and this is not one of them, but that you could be in a negative. There's different forms of investing, which I guess will be another series we could talk about on that. Right. But in regards to this, no, you would just lose some money. And that's why I say for Bitcoin, because it is very volatile. You need to be comfortable with the risk. And my recommendation is if you do decide to get in it, do try to get in on a dip if you can. But if it dips more, don't be like, oh my gosh, just let it sit.
Yeah.
So that's my recommendation on it.
That's why you say only put in what you can afford to basically
Right.
risk to lose or not be,
Right.
now. You know what I mean?
And see, right now I'm in a good place because keep in mind, I got in when it was 10,000, even though ideally I wish I had got in earlier, but I get in when it was like 10,000. So for me, it's going to be really hard for me to lose money anyway at this state of the game. But there's people that are just getting in. Yeah, you're going to see those, dips.
Right.
But I truly believe it's going to get to over 100,000. So the way it's trending.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So no time like the present. Look, she was.
Yeah, exactly.
So hey, Derek, how you doing? That's fundamentals of side hustling.
Oh, hey, how you doing, Derek?
So yeah, another thing that I remember you mentioning from the call earlier was make sure it was Yahoo Finance is what you said that you could use. That is a good way to like research it. Like to research.
Yeah, Yahoo Finance, and you can get the free version. There's a version that you pay for, but then there's the free version. So like if you want to research companies that you want to get into, you can actually put the company's names in and you can use the app. And we'll just say Apple, for example, and you can actually do a history and it'll show you the history of the company, how their revenue's been going, just how they've been running as a company. And it'll give you like the history as well, like the earnings per share and everything. It'll give you all of that information that you can actually see. So and then you can even Google a lot of things about companies too. So the other things you want to take into consideration when you're getting into companies, what type of leaders do they have? Do they have good leaders? Because that's important. A company having a good leader. Because if a company doesn't have a good leader, that's going to end up being a problem later on. So that's another thing you want to take into consideration. But yeah, just Yahoo does give you a lot of great information. And there's even, now I'm just saying this for Apple right now. Apple actually has a site that you can look at all their financials. So like a lot of companies, you can do that. So like a lot of companies, you can just go to their site and they'll give you a lot of their financials. They'll give you your spreadsheets and all this information is free for you to view. So you can actually look at that. Thank you, Queen. She's so sweet. Yeah. So you can actually view all the information of their financials, and that's like free for you to view. It's public information. So, right. and just using some, how should I put it? Like some common sense. Right. Like I'll give you an example of what I mean. GameStop. Yes, this stock, I think the last time I checked it today was around 242. Right. And that was when I checked it earlier today. Is that a good stock? No, GameStop is not a good stock because the reality is people are getting games online now. A lot of GameStop stores are actually closing. Like in my area right now, I think we only have one location now. Oh, and they had a couple. But we know that there's been a lot driving the GameStop, the GameStop stock that has nothing to do with how the company is performing. So does everybody know GameStop? Sure. It's a household name now for sure if you didn't know it before. I mean, a lot of people knew it to begin with because, their kids are like, oh, let me go to GameStop, or that was one of the ways you did have to get games back in the day. But now it's like a household name because of the stock fluctuations and all the craziness. Well, it's unfortunate to someone that doesn't have a lot of knowledge in investing because they may think, oh, this is a great stock to get into. In actuality, it is not. Right. That stock would only be for someone that's really been investing for a while, that's basically trying to ride it. They're doing swing trading. It would not be for someone new to investing. It's definitely not a good company to invest in. To me, investing in GameStop would be like trying to invest in Blockbuster back when Redbox and Netflix became really prevalent. Right. It's like the same thing to me. And I mean, where's Blockbuster now? I mean, we don't see a Blockbuster anymore. So just make sure that the companies that you're getting into are companies that are just not going anywhere. And, I say Apple and Microsoft all the time because those are two examples of companies that are just not going to go anywhere. It's not going to happen. Right. Those companies aren't going anywhere. Right. So they're going to be around. And so if you're going to do long-term investing, those are companies you want to invest into because they're going to be there. And then both of those companies actually do dividends. So they actually pay dividends to their shareholders every quarter, which is actually good too. And you just take those dividends and reinvest it. back in. So those are really good companies. I'm just using those as examples. There's other great companies out there. When you look at the S&P 500, for example, you could go to Google and put in the S&P 500 and find all the companies that are on that. There are a lot of great companies in there, because to get in the S&P 500, you have to meet certain guidelines anyway. Just like to get into the NASDAQ, you have to meet certain guidelines. So you can look at those companies and you can do your research and say, if you don't want to just buy S&Ps, because you can do that as well, the index. But if you just want to buy stocks separately, then you can look into two stocks that are in the NASDAQ. I think the NASDAQ has like 30 stocks. Of course, the S&P 500 has 500 companies, and you can actually check out these companies and say, okay, well, this seems like a good company. I know about this company because it does this, or what have you. So that's just some ways to actually research as well.
I know you were talking about too how Apple, and speaking of Apple, since you just talked about that, I actually didn't know that they had reached $1 trillion in revenue, but I kind of figured, they were somewhere high up there, because like the Apple phone is obvious. I mean, there's Apple products in general, you know what I mean? Not just the phone, but since I used to sell the doggone cell phones, and you pop one on eBay and it's gone, and sometimes as soon as you put it on there, before you can hit the button, doom, it's a sale. Like, that's how hot, these phones and just Apple products are in general. So, I mean, I don't doubt you at all on the Apple situation, especially with the Android phone burning up or blowing up or whatever happened to their phones. After that situation, Apple kind of took over again. Like, it was like they were getting close. If you remember, back then, Android, people were actually like, they were getting close to like, actually, matter of fact, they had passed Apple in sales on cell phones for a hot second, and then that happened, and then boom, they were back on top again. So, I mean, I think it was because you could, at that time, you had more options on Android than you did on Apple, but Apple has really picked up, and they like the phones now have way more options, way more settings. It's way better. But anyway, back on track, I have one app that I wrote down. I put brokerage accounts and index funds, but I'm not 100% sure like about this Acorn. I think it's Acorn app is what I'm looking at. So tell me a little bit about that, because I'm not 100% sure. I mean, what can I do with that, or what can we do with that if we want to?
Acorn is great for someone who doesn't really want to think about the stocks. They don't want to do researching, but they know they want to invest. And so when you set up an Acorn account, it gives you like, I think 3 levels. It gives you conservative, moderate, and then aggressive. I always pick aggressive just because I've been investing for a long time. And even though aggressive does have more risk, it also has more reward. And I've been investing long enough to reap the benefits of that. So that's why I always personally go aggressive. But you could do, like I said, conservative, moderate, or aggressive. So anyway, when you pick between the 3, what they're going to do is kind of set up a package for you. So let's say you decide to pick conservative, for example, they're going to put more bonds in there. Now, bonds are great, but they're not going to grow that much, to be honest with you. So I think in a conservative, they put about, it might be 50% bonds. And I forgot, because it's been a while since I've looked at it, so I apologize. I don't have my phone on me. But I want to say it's probably about 50% bonds. And then the rest they're going to do in stocks. And how they do it is they do index funds. So they'll do like the Vanguards, the Vanguard index funds that have like, X amount of stocks in them. Like they can have the S&P 500 in them. It'll be different Vanguards and stuff like that. And then they'll even pick some international companies that have index, but they'll still be Vanguard funds, because there's different Vanguard funds to choose from.
Okay.
So the moderate does, I think, about 40. I know the moderate definitely is 40% bonds, because I remember that was 40% bonds, and then the rest would be like the Vanguard index. And then the aggressive, it's like 20% bonds, and then the rest is going to be like your Vanguard and all that kind of stuff. So when I set up my Acorn, that's what I did. And then basically I set up my Acorn just to have something for Sebastian years later. That's a set and forget account. I don't think anything about it. I put like a set amount weekly that goes in it. And then of course, the way it's set up, the way I have mine set, you can set up it differently. But I have mine where there's an amount that goes in there weekly. And then every time I use my debit card and it gets up to the change, gets up to $5 that goes in there. That's how I have mine set up. You don't have to set it up like that, but that's how I have mine set up. And that's just an account I'm not going to mess with. I put him as a beneficiary. So that's just money that's going to be to him whenever. And it kind of, the neat thing about Acorn is it does show you the potential of where you can grow, depending. And of course, we know, the stock market can fluctuate here and there, but it just basically gives you the potential of growth that it can actually have. So that's basically what I do with my Acorn. I just set and forget type deal.
Is Acorn similar to, I think I was trying to get a Stash account. Is that Stash what it's called?
Stash has changed greatly. At one time, I would have said, yes, they're very similar, because when Stash first was like really out, they would only give you options to do what we call ETFs. And ETFs is usually just like a grouping of stocks that are compiled together, and you invest on that. Okay. And they still have ETFs, don't get me wrong. There's plenty of them that they still have, but Stash has just what I called, they're evolving. That's why I love them, like my name, right? But Stash has evolved so much, because now you can get any stock that's on a New York Stock Exchange with Stash. The only thing about Stash is it's not for someone that's a day trader, someone that's a swing trader. It's not for that type of trader. It's simply for that person that wants to get some stocks and let them sit there. Does that make sense? Because they only have 4 trading windows. Yeah. Let them
sit, get them and let them sit.
Yeah, because they only have 4 trading windows in a day. So like when you buy stocks on Stash, it's not immediate. So let's say, I go in, it's like, it's 10 o'clock in the morning. And I say, okay, I want to buy some Apple. It's not going to buy my Apple right then. So if you're someone very concerned about the price point and you wanting to get in and out, then Stash is not going to be for you. But if you're somebody just investing for your future, just, especially because you can do a Roth IRA up there. You can do all of that kind of stuff. You can invest for your children, and you can just invest for yourself. It's just a great way to save some money, by using the stock market. Then it's great. And then I tell you, I mainly have it because I got a debit card, a checking account where every time I use it, I also get fractional shares that way too. So I really do love Stash. It has definitely evolved. So I can't even call it like Acorns anymore. But at one time I would have said yes. I would have said that it was like Acorn. So now they're very different now.
Yeah, I went on ahead and signed up because I had got on. I remembered it because I had got online and I said, okay, let me see if there's any other, because I know there's tons of apps. So I said, let me see besides what the ones that we talked about, if I can find any other ones that would be really good too. And I said, I'm gonna do one, out of whatever I find, I'm going to introduce one additional one into, in addition to the ones we already talked about. So the one I came up with was called Inbox Dollars. So far, all I did was sign up, and I have $5.50. I mean, it's not, it's not a bang of money, but think about people that are saying that they really don't have any money to invest. But do you have just a little bit of time? Because that really literally only took me about 5 minutes. Like, it didn't take very long, maybe 10 minutes. I don't know. But I think it was more like 5. It didn't seem like it took me very long. It was just like a questionnaire. You answer your name, what city are you in, your income, just, so you can do surveys. You know what I mean? And then they have things you can do. I'm sorry. They have other things that you can do on the app. Like you can play games, you can do surveys, you can do an assortment of things and then make money off of that. So if you don't have money to invest, start there. You know what I mean? Like get the app and then start building up a fund to be able to take that same money and put it back into like a stock or, maybe Stash or something like that. Bitcoin. Yeah.
Right. I totally agree, Brittany. There's actually so many apps now that require just a little bit of money that you can invest, and it actually grows a great deal. Just like I was telling you about SoFi, like I have a whole bunch of brokerage accounts just because they give me something. And because I'm not going to leave free money on the table. And I always tell people, I don't care how much money you make, don't leave free money on the table. So that's why I have like a lot of brokerage accounts, because if they're giving something to me in the form of money, then I'm going to take it. And just like the example of, I just put in $10 and now it's $200 and something in the crypto, you know, and you're not going to put $10 in a savings account and it grow to be that. It's never going to happen. I do want to answer Christy's question really quick. It depends on the Vanguard and the index. Vanguard and index can grow your money depending on which one you pick. It's the bonds that don't really grow that much. And answer to your question, Christy, bonds have like a slow growth. And getting back to what you were talking about, where there's apps that you can make money and go along. So being that you were talking about Bitcoin, this is something great for Bitcoin. People that are wanting to get into Bitcoin but don't have a lot of money, is get the Coinbase app. So with the Coinbase app, it does have educational things that you can do, and they'll actually give you money, because there's like so many forms of cryptocurrencies out there. And the Coinbase app actually teaches you different cryptocurrencies that are out there. So you do whatever they ask you to do. It's so super simple. It doesn't even take you long to do them. And you get the money for that particular currency, and then you can convert it to Bitcoin if you want to. So
the fact that you can take the app and they'll pay you to actually learn more about it.
Right. So that's great. Yeah. So that's great for Bitcoin. Being that we did talk about it earlier, and I'm glad you brought up the other app, because that made me think of Coinbase. So I apologize, I didn't think about it earlier. But Coinbase, I highly recommend setting that up. If you're interested in Bitcoin, but you're like, I don't have a lot of money to put in it, then you can actually get into Bitcoin by using Coinbase, because like I said, just do the little educational things they do, and you get your little money and you just switch it over and convert it to Bitcoin, and you're in it. So that's a way. And then, we didn't talk about it here. We talked about it in Clubhouse, but I'll bring it back up really quick. If you get Cash App and you do the debit card and you set up the brokerage account, well, I did talk about the taxes. I did talk about the stocks. I did talk about that I had Bitcoin on the Cash App, but what I didn't mention is that if you have the card, you can get the boost. And they have scenarios where, like, if you go into the grocery store, you can get a certain percentage of Bitcoin. You get some gas, you get a certain percentage of that. You went to a restaurant, they're going to give you 10% for Bitcoin. So those are things too. So there's ways that you can get free Bitcoin if you want to get into that industry. But like, I don't have a lot of money. That's ways to do it as well.
Okay, I'll type that in. Then there was the Coin Out app, but I don't have anything by that. Is that similar to Coinbase, or is it different?
Now, Coin Out app is the one I was telling you about, that y'all can get a whole bunch of free money. Because with the Coin Out app, what it does is they form partnerships with different companies. Most of the times it's online banks. So like you can set up these online bank accounts, and I do it, guys, because as long as they're not charging fees, I really don't care. So I set up the online banks because they don't charge fees. I do make sure they don't charge fees. I set it up, and then I get $50 from Coin Out for setting it up. It's a win-win. So I know when I established the Coin Out app, I got like $200, probably like in a month's time. I took that money and I invested it. I took it out and I invested in the stock market. So there's so many ways to, invest in the stock market with a little money here and there, and because it grows, it does grow.
Yeah, that's why I put that down here. Okay, and that's just straight up free money that you can invest in something else. So, and that's just like, I think you did talk about one of those types of accounts, which was Chime, and I think it was like Assurance, or I don't remember what the name was, but it was on the app that I downloaded today, the Inbox Dollars. They were trying to get me to get like an account or something, and they would give me $30, and then I think the app themselves give you so much. You know what I mean? Like, it's a way you can get money though, basically 30, 50, something.
Yeah, so what you can do, Brittany, if I were you, is I would look at that app that you're talking about, and then I would look at the Coin Out app and see which one you get the most money out of and play them together. Get more free money is good.
Indeed, because it seems similar. So I was like, okay, let me see, because it seems like they got a lot of deals, a lot of different things that you can do to get money. And then there was something I know another lady brought up. I forgot her name, but I'm like, what is her? I don't remember her name right now, but it was Rakuten. You know what? When I went to go do that, I went to the link in her bio on Instagram to go get this Rakuten, Rakuten, Rakuten.
Right.
Yeah, so I went and looked it up, and the only thing I didn't like is I said, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and log in, and they said, do you want to log in with your Google? And I said, yeah, sure. And then it said it was gonna have access to all my emails. And I was like, I had the dog, like, the ear thing in there, like, you're not going to be in all my emails, so I was like, no. I didn't do it through Google, but there might be like another way, like where I can just do it without them I don't want them in my inbox, period. Like it said, you would have to give them access to your inbox. And I was like, no, I really don't want you in my email, because there's certain things in there, like I have that authentication on there for a reason, because there's certain things in there that I just don't, it's private information that can't have somebody all looking through my stuff. So I just want to say a tip is to, whatever these apps are and whatever you're looking up, definitely read the fine print. Because like when I was looking up on Inbox Dollars, that account that they wanted me to get the $30, I said, okay, what's the catch? Where are the hidden fees? You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm looking for. Like, what am I going to get charged for? But most of it, I think the account was actually only $1. If you get the lowest plan, they have different plans, but if you get the lowest one, it was only $1. And there isn't really any hidden fees until you start doing stuff. Now, when you do certain things, they do have certain fees for those activities, but I'm pretty sure you can still make money off of it. But that's what I was noticing when I read the fine print. It said, see this policy and see this policy. And so I read them. It took me a little bit to read because it's long, it's lengthy, but I was just looking for how much money that, I would have to spend to get, whatever I wanted to do, whatever activities I decide to do, it looks like you get charged. But just for the account, it's still free money. Like you said, basically I'm only spending $1. And if they're going to give me $30, that's fine. I can always just cancel it if I don't want it.
Yeah. Well, with CoinOut, how it works is, now granted, there's some services obviously that you would buy, like you said, but like the ones that I chose was stuff that I didn't have to pay any fees. So like, for example, I set up Chime. Chime has no fees or anything like that. So the only thing I had to do to get the $50 for Chime was that I had to direct deposit $200. Not a problem. I direct deposited $200, no fees on that. And then I got $50 out of that. So, and then there was an account, Vario, no fees on that, $50 for that as well. And they had some other accounts. I had set up some other stuff because some of the things that they have up there I already had, like I already had Stash, I already had Acorn, and some other accounts that they have that you can establish, that you can still get some money on as well. Because I think Stash up there, it's $30. And like I was telling Sandra today, because Sandra actually asked about it. So like if you want to set up a SoFi account, like I was talking about earlier, all you would have to do is put $100 in SoFi to invest, and CoinOut is going to give you $50. That's huge, so, and there's no fees on that as well. So there's just a lot of ways to, get free money. But yeah, you're right. I do really read into that because, like, I'll give an example. Like when Ibotta first came out, and it was interesting to me that a lot of people weren't using Ibotta because Ibotta's been out for like ever, and everybody was like, nobody's using it. I was like, wow. But anyway, when Ibotta first came out, it would give you all of these like incentives, but it was for products that you really just don't use. So really, you weren't making any money because you're going to buy this product and it's just going to sit there. You're not going to use it. So I stopped using Ibotta for a while because of that, because I was like, I'm not going to use that because I'm not going to pay money just to get a little bit of their, change or whatever. But when they started doing that, well, first they called it pay with Ibotta, but then they changed it to, gift card with Ibotta. That's huge because you get 5% off at some companies. Some companies are even more than that. If you go ahead, like if you're in the store, like I was talking about, like if you're in a restaurant you could actually pay for your check using a gift card through Ibotta, and you get 5% off on that. So that's huge. And if you're already doing that, like if you're already going out, at the restaurant, why not, get that 5% back? So it's really up the game. And so I do like the app now because of that. But yeah, before I was like, I'm not going to buy this ridiculous stuff just to get these few dollars.
Right.
Yeah. And then like I was telling you about Get Upside, even though that technically has nothing to do with bank accounts or brokerage, but the reason why I like Get Upside is because even if you don't drive a lot, you are eventually going to get gas. So you can get some money for the gas that you get. But if you refer people that are driving, if you got friends and family that are driving and you refer them on that app, you get paid every time they get gas. That's a win-win. And it's just ongoing. It doesn't stop. It's like every time they fill up, you're going to get paid. Wow. I love it. Yeah.
You can't beat that.
No, you can't beat that. Yeah, it's awesome.
Income is it's unbeatable.
Yeah. And it's just like, I was telling people the other day, because me and Tiana was having this conversation. If you have this pill, and it's a small drip, eventually that drip is going to fill up that pill. It's going to fill it up eventually. So, just multiple streams all over the place. And it's nothing complicated because you're not doing anything. You refer it, they start using it. They're going to save money, and then you get money off of them as well. So it's a win-win. And that's just called Get Upside. So, and that is on my link tree if y'all want to get that one, called Get Upside.
I put Terry's link to her YouTube channel so you can subscribe to her channel, or if you just want to see her over on Instagram, she is evolving always over there. So you can do that. But I had another question. I'm trying to think. Fetch.
Oh, and also, let me tell you something real quick. Yeah, I am going to get into Fetch. You were talking about Fetch? Okay. Yeah. But the other thing, you had asked what Bitcoin was right now. It's actually 55,000 right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay. So I
had to send a message to my husband because I didn't have my cell phone in front of me. But yeah, it's 55,000 right now. Okay. Which is awesome.
Yeah.
So you want to talk about Fetch. So Fetch is another app that does not really have anything to do in the sense of like with brokerage or a bank, but it can save you money overall. So basically how it works is every time you get a receipt, no matter where, they're going to give you points. And initially when you set up Fetch, it's going to give you a lot of points initially just for setting it up and start using it. It'll start giving you like a whole bunch of points initially. Then after a while, it'll give you like 5 points here. A lot of times when you go to grocery stores, you'll get 25 points. I'm not sure the rhyme or reason on that, but you'll most of the time get 25 points at least when you go to a grocery store. And it appears when you go to a gas station, you get 25 points. Well, anyway, once you get up to 5,000 points, you can get either a $3 Amazon card, you get a $5 Starbucks card, $5 CVS, and there's other cards that you can choose from. But the point of the matter is, let's say you had to get something from CVS, you're talking $5 now, you have extra to use. I think that's awesome. You know what I mean? So ends up being a savings. And that's called Fetch. Kind of like if you're throwing something to your dog and you want your dog to fetch it. That's what that's called.
Listen, my favorite drink at Starbucks, I kid you not, is almost $7. It's like $6.78. I mean, I'm like, so that's why I go maybe once a month. Like I've been trying to steer clear because it doesn't really fit in with my diet either. But what I really like from there, I have one drink that I do like to get like while I'm on dieting, but I try to just stay away from it because it's just high. It's expensive. So yeah, that $5 for me personally, I'll take it. You know what I mean?
Well, and the funny thing about that though too is you can just let that compound for a while if you're not going to Starbucks a lot, and then you can end up getting a bigger card for later on. So yeah. Or for me, I really like the fact that, it gives you $5 towards CVS because there's a lot you can get from CVS, a lot, that you can utilize there, vitamins, all that good stuff, hair care products, toothpaste, all that good stuff. So, yeah.
Hello, how are you?
Hey, I like that name. Call it Fava.
Yes, I do. I like that as well.
I love it.
What is your name? I like to know people's names too, because so I can, next time you come, I can say your name. She said, "What is the $7 drink?" It is.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's a,
Good question, Quimby.
what is it called? It's a mocha, caramel mocha frappuccino.
Oh yeah.
That's the one that I like the best, and I always have to get the chocolate and the caramel drizzle. That's important. And when they have the salted stuff to put on the top of it, it's the salted caramel one. You know, that is my favorite drink. It's so good. It's like when you take a sip of it, it's like crack. And I don't know. Well, I don't know if crack is like that, but that's what I'm thinking because I've never had crack. But that's how good it is. You just be like, it's instant happiness in a cup.
Have instant happiness in a cup. I love it. I love it. I'm gonna try that. on my next fetch rewards, I guess I'll try that instead of getting a CVS.
It is really, really.
Yeah, but that is a great app that you can utilize. So but yeah, my favorites, like I said, I really got into Ibotta now because I do use the gift card option. Oh, and another app I did not get a chance to talk about today, and I'll mention here on your awesome YouTube channel is Bumped. And let me go ahead and put that in comments.
Yeah,
so,
I'm gonna put it in
I just put that in comments there. And it's basically, you set this app up, it's going to allow you to set up loyalties. You're going to put the credit cards, well, it could be credit cards or actual debit cards, whichever you use to actually do your normal spending, if that makes any sense. What you normally shop with, you know, to the grocery store, you know, gas, you know, food, etc., what have you. So anyway, once you set that up and you set up your loyalties, every time you go to these locations and you're using those cards, you actually get a fractional share of that company. So that's how Bumped works. And so it's actually a brokerage account. It sets up a portfolio for you. You get to see how your portfolio is going. And so I have Bumped, and that's another account. I'm just going to like leave it there, just let it grow. You know, some people like cash it out or whatever, but for me, I'm just going to let it grow. Just, you know, every time I utilize any of the loyalties, it's going to get a fraction share, and I'll let it sit there. The only thing I don't like about Bumped right now, and I did mention this to them, so hopefully they change it in the future, is if you're, if one of the companies that you have as a loyalty does dividends, when those dividends come in, like, which is typically quarterly, the money just sits there. You can't reinvest it. Now, granted, you could like cash it out, but I would prefer to reinvest it. And they don't have an option right now to reinvest. So I did mention that to them. So hopefully they'll change and make it where you can actually reinvest those dividends as well, so the money can grow even faster.
Indeed.
So remember, it's Bumped. I highly recommend you set it up. It's free for you to set up and very easy.
Yeah, I was like, well, that was a quick $5. So it's proven that it definitely works. And another I mean, I haven't drove for Uber and Lyft since, you know, COVID started, but I did get a text message on my phone the other day, and I don't know if it's just here in Texas where I'm at, but $100 for 3 rides sounds like a plan to me. I was like, we better put this mask on. Let's get out here. Okay, let me pick up 3 people. You know, I was like,
Brittany, you are too much alike, girl. I used to do that for fun and to get extra money for investing. I would do Uber and Lyft. And so sometimes I'm like, I want some extra money for investing. Let me go out here and do some rides. And it was fun because I would pick like the daytime so I could take people to work.
Yeah.
I didn't like getting the drunk crowd.
Right.
Yeah, I wasn't into that. So, but like you said, I haven't done that since COVID, and I'm not even gonna bother. I'm just like,
I might have to
be on a shelf for me. But I do just have fun because I would get in great conversations with people that I would pick up and stuff. Yeah, it's fun.
Here. Yeah, I just like a variety of things. I just don't like to do just the same thing over and over and over. It's just, I mean, I don't know if it's because of being in management or because I'm I feel like I'm a little ADD. I'm not going to put that on myself, but I do have tendencies of, like I like to do something and then let me do something else and then do something else and then come back over here and let's do that. I just don't want to do the same thing all day long. Like just sit down and list all day long. It's hard for me. So that's why, with the prepping this week, I didn't get all my prepping done because it's like an all day affair. So I have to do some of them tomorrow for my prep. And then I'm going to finish up a couple of listings that I needed to finish up for today. But they're not going to get cross-listed because after I done sat there and finished them on eBay, I don't feel like putting them over there. So I said, dang, do I need to pay somebody to do this other part? That way I only have to do just eBay. It's the hardest part. It's the most tedious and you don't have to worry about giving it to somebody else or whatever. So that leads me into the next topic for next week. I'm actually going to be talking about that, like a VA, how to hire one. I've done it before, but I'm going to, it depends on it depends on what you have going on and what your goal is. Like I said, for me, my goal is to not be at this computer for hours and hours at a time. That bothers me, sitting at the screen for hours and hours, no more than 2 hours at a time. I want to get away from the computer, and I also want to get a little less attachment to my phone, because I don't have a choice though. It's like everything is on there with Poshmark and eBay, everything is on there. So you're always on your phone at some point. But my point is really with the VA situation, I just want to get a little bit of freedom here to do the things that I love, like this. You know what I'm saying? Like doing more of this kind of stuff, building my YouTube channel. I actually like to edit videos. It's fun to me, but I just don't have the time. Like I like putting the little stuff in there and doing all that stuff, that's fun to me. Some people it's annoying, but for me it's fun, but I don't really have a lot of time for it. So right now I've been just working on, trying to do for now, shorter videos and stuff, because I'm just like, there's no way I'm gonna have time to edit the longer videos. And that's another reason why these lives are really good. So I do thank you for coming on here tonight, Terry. And that was definitely some good advice that you gave on these apps. Okay. Because I think we all could use a couple of extra dollars. For stuff that you're going to do already, especially the groceries and stuff like that, that's stuff you're going to do anyway. It doesn't even take any extra effort to do that. Or the bank account thing. I like that too. Like just
there's so much free money out there. People would be surprised. I know. Quimby. I don't blame you, Quimby. I really do want to get to the point, and I can relate to everything that you just said, actually, Brittany, about I don't like being on a computer that much or being a slave to my phone. I actually want to have a book and a journal and do some things that way.
Yes.
So I've got to work it out where I can make that happen. That's something I'm working on because I don't like it either. It's too much.
Yeah.
And it sometimes can suck the joy out of you, and that's not worth it. So, that's another topic altogether.
It is.
But
yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
but anyway, anytime, y'all are welcome to reach out to me via DM if y'all want to ask me anything in regards to investing or apps. Like I said, I do get a lot of them out there. I'm on them. If it says anything about some money, gonna give me some money, I'm on it. I love stuff like that. So
so I just like I say, for next week on Success is a Mindset, the series, I have Tiana, I know is going to come on, and Liz. I don't know if you guys know her, but she was on Sarah Styles' show, I think a couple of weeks ago when they were talking about taxes and stuff like that. But her name is Realize You. Her name is Liz. She's my friend too. She will be on there along with Tiana. And if you have anybody else that you want to throw in the mix, you let me know. But I know that both of them have some experience with it. I don't know if I can get C to come, but C is it's Bossy on Instagram. She has a lot of experience with eBay and just listing and all of that stuff. And she is a VA. So she would be able to definitely give you some insight into what you need them to know. Like, do you want them to list for you? How do you want them to do this? What parts of it do you want? We're just going to have an all-out discussion because everybody's situation is a little different. Like Tiana's is different from mine. what I do and how, you know, she does retail arbitrage. I do thrifting, you know, Realize You. She's just been around for a while. She has more of your mature brands, you know, like we all do something a little bit different. So I think that coming together and just having a conversation about it, like what we feel like we need, might help some other people in the community figure out, you know, what they might need for a VA as well. You know what I mean? Because it is a process. Like I have a whole little list of things, and like I don't know if Quimby, if she's still in here, but I mean, I don't know, like has like something that you can like a sheet that she gave them, or like a list of directions or something on what she wanted. Did she make a video for them? Stuff like that. That's the stuff that we'll talk about, because I know I made a video. You know what I mean? Like, because I wanted them to know.
And that was actually good that you did that. I think that was good. I know I heard that you had made one, and there's somebody else I know that made a video, and I'm trying to remember who it was. I can't think of it right now.
Made a video.
Yeah, there's so much work I need for people to do. It's beyond listening, I tell you.
Visual aids. I wonder, do you really, like, if I make up the visual aids with the how to do the descriptions and all of that, it depends. It depends, I guess, if you got somebody that doesn't know, are they working from scratch, or do they have a little bit of experience? Whether you're going to have to do they need the visual aids or not? They may not. You know what I'm saying? And then you're sending it electronically. So, I mean,
yeah.
But anyways, and we're going to go ahead and wrap up, unless you all have any additional questions. You know where you can find the beautiful, evolving, always Terry.
Beautiful Brittany.
So, you know, if you want to DM her over there, you can reach her, and she will, you know, reach out to her if you have any questions about investing or any tips or anything like that. She is more than willing to help you. I am too, but I don't have as much experience in that department as she is, but I do try to find out. You know what I mean? I'm that type of person. But anyway, so you guys can tune in next week. I will see you here at the same time, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. I have 2 special guests. We're going to talk about how to hire a VA, basically, or, you know, just the process of hiring VAs.
That's a good idea. I need to catch that one for sure. Thank you so much, Brittany. I appreciate it. And everyone, thanks for coming out. Appreciate you.
You guys don't forget to hit the thumbs up.
There you go.
I appreciate you coming out. Thank you so much for staying to the end of the chat, and you guys have a good night.
Yeah. Bye, everybody.
Bye.